Welcome back to the Gavel. The collapse of a building at Synagogue Church of All Nations is still fresh on the minds of Nigerians. Scores of people died, mostly South Africans. Now, in the aftermath of the collapse of the building at the Synagogue Church of All Nations in Lagos, the Senate directed its Committee on Lands and Survey to organize a public investigation of incessant cases of collapsed buildings in the country. Friday, 12th September 2014. A guest house at the Synagogue Church of All Nations collapsed, killing scores of people, mostly South Africans. A week later, another church, Christ Chosen in Benin City, collapsed, killing 3 people. The church structures are not the only buildings collapsing in the country. This lawmaker says Nigeria has consistently witnessed cases of collapsed buildings in the last 2 years.
Further statistics indicate that 60% of structures in Nigeria were built without authorization and that 85% of building materials in Nigeria are substandard.
Some lawmakers say there is a fundamental problem relating to what is happening in the country's building and construction industry.
Our steel industry and our cement industry, which are the 2 basic raw materials required in the quality of buildings that you can produce in building industry in our country, are today being haphazardly managed to the extent that the producers of these materials are the same ones that set the standards for them. I found it extremely surprising when I saw a debate in the newspapers which was being forced by cement manufacturers about what the quality of cement that is required for certain building structures, rather than the moderating organizations coming out to set the standards based on real technical and engineering experience. What should be the standard of cement to be used for certain building structures in Nigeria?
As a Senate, we can't allow this to continue to happen. That is why I have a strong opinion that as a Senate, no matter how long we speak, if we have not come up with a very clear structural normative framework to address this continuous occurrence, it will continue to happen. And of course, it doesn't give us a good image. Most of those people from South Africa who have lost their lives, they'll be dead scared to come to Nigeria. We are losing international relationship. We are losing image before the global community. So it is not just the loss of lives, it's the loss of business, the loss of relationship, the respect for the country, the integrity of the nation is at stake. It is my strong opinion that until we provide a legal framework that addresses the issue of abuse of the engineering procedures and standards, we cannot go anywhere.
Another lawmaker, Senator Joshua Darie, says religious bodies have been flouting building policies and they must be held accountable for the collapse of structures.
These days, our sentiment becloud our judgment. And most of these people who flout these policies, you will agree with me, religious bodies. In our estates, you'll find mosques, churches, and there's no sanction in the name of we're serving God. I believe that if we take a deliberate policy and we're nationalistic and we're God-fearing and ensure that the implementers are properly motivated, we will be able to come into terms with reality. All the other advanced countries where you find planning is working, there is commitment, there is patriotism. Yes, most of these people that put X, FCA or development control, you find that because of poor motivation or sheer greed, they put national patriotism at the back burner and this building keep collapsing. We must go back and everybody must be patriotic and say, for what I'm doing is for God and for country.
We are living in a state of lawlessness. And if a people are living out of the law, outside the law, the only penalty, so practical, is death. For every violation of every law, there is an equivalent penalty. It is not confirmed, but we had a 2-story building raised to a 6-story building. The penalty will be death. There will be another penalty. And when a building is to collapse, somehow, if it has a balanced reinforcement, it will give it its hands. But if it's over-reinforced, or properly under-reinforced, it will just collapse with you one day, and people will die.
For the most recent cases of building collapse in the country, that of Synagogue Church in Lagos and Christ Chosen Church in Edo State, the governors of Lagos and Edo States have promised to investigate the circumstances which led to the collapse of the churches. But federal lawmakers have said they want the federal and state governments to stop playing lip service to solving the problem of building collapse in the country. And one of the solutions which they have put forward is for government and relevant agencies to sanction any organization or individual who flout building regulations.